The Duchess of Malfi is a Jacobean tragedy written by John Webster in 1612. T.S. Eliot wrote that Webster was much possessed by death and saw the skull beneath the skin. Webster's tragic play certainly validates Eliot's description. 9 characters are murdered in the play, which leads many readers to conclude that the violence is gratuitous. However, Webster's sublime poetry and commentary upon death redeem the play. The tragedy is not merely a precursor of modern slasher films, but rather a profound discussion on death and the significance of mankind. In Act 2, Scene 1, Bosola ridicules the vanity of mankind. He states that though we are eaten up of lice and worms, and though continually we bear about us a rotten and dead body, we delight to hide it in rich tissue. His statement demonstrates the absurdity of many human endeavors. We are essentially corpses, food for lice and worms, and yet we delight in the silliest of trifles. Webster wants the reader to realize the human condition. When one grasps the finitude of life, then one can discard trivial delights and strive to attain higher levels of significance. The first death of the play occurs in Act 4, Scene 2. This is the scene in which the Duchess of Malfi is strangled to death. Before she is executed, Bosola speaks to her of the frailties and despicable nature of the human body. He remarks that our bodies are weaker than those paper prisons boys use to keep flies in, more contemptible, since ours is to preserve earthworms. Didst thou ever see a lark in a cage? Such is the soul and the body. This world is like her little turf of grass, and the heaven over our heads, like her looking-glass, only gives us a miserable knowledge of the small compass of our prison. Bosola's discourse is similar to the sentiments of Socrates, who expressed his delight at the expectation of the separation of his soul from the body. To both Bosola and Socrates, the body is a prison for the soul. The body ought not to be revered and cherished. It is merely a box of worm seed. The soul is infinitely more valuable. To conclude, Webster advises the reader that meaning is not to be sought for in this earthly realm. Death conquers all flesh, and yet death ought not to be feared, for death is liberation of the soul from this insignificant realm of existence. While one lives, one ought to strive to do what is just, rather than what delights the human body. The last words of Bosola sum up Webster's sentiments well. He states, "Oh, this gloomy world! In what a shadow or deep pit of darkness doth womanish and fearful mankind live! Let worthy minds ne'er stagger in distrust to suffer death or shame for what is just."